All right, thank you so much for staying with Daybreak. You're just in time for that discussion that is starting on. We're calling it State of the Nation. We're talking about several issues across the political divide. Let me introduce my guest to you. Beginning from my left, Honorable Tiende Amolo, Member of Parliament for Ariada, is here, and Ombudsman Emeritus. Thank you so much for making time. Honorable Kimani Wamatangi is also here, Senator for Kiambu. Thank you so much for making time.
Thank you, Trevor.
On my right is Honorable Ndegwa Wahome, Chairperson, County Assembly's Forum, and also Nyandarua County Assembly Speaker. Thank you so much for making time. Good morning, Kenya. And Isaac Mwaura, Honorable Nominated Senator. Thank you so much for making time. Good morning. All right, so let's take a look at the dailies. Start off with the Daily Nation. BBI showdown, they say. Danger sign. Spectacle of violence on political intolerance rears its ugly head at Raila rally. Honorable Isaac Mwaura, you were there before this event happened. What took place there?
I think, Githurai people are very peaceful people. There has never been any violence, even whichever leader that comes. But only some incident, I think, in 2017, when Raila Odinga was there was some form of violence. And yes, previously there were concerns and people kept off. If you looked at, the images circulating social media and the videos, people just didn't show up. But there are goons that were hired. They came, from Abadogo. They were properly mobilized. Trevor, and they are the ones who caused chaos. And it is very well documented. In fact, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga was to come last Friday, but he was prevailed upon not to come because of the tensions. Yeah. And of course, they flared up. In fact, if you look at the governor of Kiambu never showed up, the deputy governor who was the one behind this visit, together with Maina Commander, the deputy governor herself never showed up. All of the Mount Kenya leaders, the so-called Kieleweke leaders who were supposed to accompany him, switched off their phones. He was supposed to arrive at 10 a.m. He came at around 1 o'clock as per what was on the ground. And really what we want to say that Githurai people are peace-loving. They don't want any violence. We are a cosmopolitan area. We have people from all walks of life. And we do not want anything to do with anything, with violence. Pamela Odhiambo had actually come there before. Yeah. And incited people and said that they don't want to hear anything about wheelbarrows. And it's very well documented because allegedly she used to be a trader there. I don't know when she was. But so all of those issues, we people who come from Githurai, I've been born and brought up there. Yeah. My mother has actually been trading around that roundabout.
Who hired these goons that you keep saying were hired?
But they were hired by TJ Kajwang, by Babu Awino. They were from Babadogo. And Edwin Sifuna, Trevor, had actually tweeted about it and supported by Philip Etale. And you know very well, Trevor, ODM is very well known for violence. Remember, as far back as the time Michael Kijana Wamalwa and Raila Odinga were fighting for the leadership of Fort Kenya, coming all the way even to the recent Kibra by-elections, when Right Honorable Raila Odinga was in Kangemi, all of this is documented, and the faces are similar. And even remember the 2014 Men in Black scenario, So basically what I'm trying to say is that you can tell when a situation is well choreographed, yeah. And the idea was to blame others because of the chaos.
Okay. Honorable Tiende, I'll let you respond to this because this is almost a direct attack on ODM.
Thank you, Trevor. I'm surprised that Senator Isaac Mwaura can sit here with a straight face and utter those things he's uttering. I actually thought that his first statement was to apologize to Kenyans for the violence because there's evidence that Senator Isaac Mwaura personally and with others organized that violence. And I think it's quite unfortunate on a number of things. Senator Isaac Mwaura is not just in the newspapers that some of my colleagues are mentioning him. I've even seen clips of what he actually said to try and incite both the traders and the youth against the visit by the Right Honorable Prime Minister. So I think it's really unfortunate. And this kind of intolerance is something that should not be left just for political discussion. It is something that must be visited by the appropriate criminal sanctions against the inciters. And in so doing, Senator Mwaura does not make sense. First of all, if Raila is going to Githurai to address the people of Githurai, for what reason would you hire goons to disrupt your own meeting? That's just simply illogical. You know, you don't do that. No politician does that, you know. And why would you hire goons to stone your own vehicles, as we saw the vehicles that were being stoned, you know? Secondly, this visit was not organized by the politicians. And so the question of which politician was there or not is highly irrelevant. I was part of this, you know, organization of this visit. It's only that yesterday I was still in the constituency. And by the time I got here, it was too late to go to Githurai. This visit was requested by the leadership of the traders themselves. Their first request was to meet the Right Honorable Prime Minister in Ruaka, and I was part of that meeting. While we were at Ruaka is when they requested the Prime Minister to actually visit Githurai, because they also had some grievances which they are hoping that both in Parliament and within the executive can be addressed. There's the question of the market that was built, and there are issues to be resolved there. And it's also not sufficient. They indicated that there's more space for another market to be built. There's the question of structures that were destroyed when they were reorganizing the railway line, and they need that to be addressed. There's the question of the flyover, because they're saying it's very difficult for them to cross over. So there are very legitimate reasons for which they had requested the Prime Minister to be there. And so it's the leadership of the traders together with the Kikuyu Council of Elders that invited Raila. So the question of which politician was there or not is highly relevant. Thirdly, this meeting was to be there last week, but it was not postponed because of the issues that Isaac Mwaura is alluding to. We were aware, even as of last week, that they had started those instigations. But we as a party will not stop going anywhere because Isaac Mwaura and his friends are organizing violence. We will go, as indeed anybody in this country must be entitled to go anywhere for purposes of campaign. So the visit was put off because when the leadership of the traders themselves came to Capitol Hill, and we met with them, and it was agreed at their request that it be put off to this week. Now, lastly, you know, reckless and insightful statements that are made by persons like the ones now made by Isaac Mwaura are really unfortunate, saying ODM is known for violence. You know, in this country, a number of things must be known. First, all the incidences of violence that have happened in this country right from 2007, those who have suffered the most are actually ODM followers, including those who are killed. When recently in 2017 there were issues, those who suffered the most were ODM followers. Indeed, it turns out, as you know, some of the statements that have been made by Sonko and others, that all along, whenever ODM plans any meeting, then there are those who plan chaos in the name of ODM and hope to blame them. And so reckless statements like that, which I am sure the only reason Isaac Mwaura is making them, and you know, Isaac is a man I've respected, but now he's putting my respect to the test. Those are statements as if only meant to appear that he's at the forefront of Tanga, so that if he does not make it, then he gets the third nomination. You know, he's a man who's been nominated twice. And I think now he's angling that if for any reason, you know, no party nominates anybody twice. So I am quite sure that he's angling.
One at a time, you're the one who started.
Have time like that.
Senator Mwaura, we have to have some decorum.
Yeah, we will have a decorum, but also, can you also...
And also remember, I am the host of this show,
you
so
are
I
the
deserve
host,
the right to let
you are the host, but also can you balance? No, you cannot give...
Wait for now.
I'll wait.
Honorable Mwaura, let's get some decorum.
Yes,
so let
but
him finish
I'll wait.
And let you respond.
Just listen.
I'll let you respond when it's done.
You called me for the show. Do you want to listen to me? If you want to listen to me,
what
what I want to say is that
let him finish.
Otiende Amolo, you cannot be given all the time. I also want to respond. It's very simple.
So let me finish, Trevor. Senator Mwaura might know that in this show we always have that decorum. You hold your horses, you say your bit when it comes. So my point is, let's not make reckless statements that can cause bigger problems merely because we want to angle ourselves for whatever advantage we want to get from the parties that we belong to.
Okay.
I think Trevor, let me respond to that because you gave Otiende Amolo like 10 minutes to talk about it. First and foremost, I think Otiende Amolo, God's timing is the best. About my nomination or non-nomination, I would want to tell you to your face that God's timing is the best. Number two, if that were to be the case, Right Honorable Raila Odinga could not still be having ambitions of being elected. He's not been elected as president 4 times, and he's still ambitious. Number three, you've also rightfully confirmed that you are part of the violence by the meetings that you attended. And in fact, you started planning this violence from last Friday, when you realized it was not possible for you to come to Githurai because Githurai is a hustler nation. And yesterday, you actually recused yourself because you knew clearly that the ground was hostile. If that were to be the case, how comes before the arrival of your entourage, there was no violence, there was no demonstration, people were actually kept away, but what had happened, you have actually choreographed this thing very well, that you come cause chaos and blame others. Even today, we are very aware that you are also planning to cause chaos in Burma. You also, went to the Hustler Nation Center and invaded youth invaded there. So it is very, very well known. And let me say this, Trevor, that for purposes of fairness and justice and righteousness, in the book of Amos 5:21-24, we as leaders must actually exercise restraint in the manner in which we are advancing our political agenda. Trevor, yesterday, the whole strategy was to show that because Githurai is a gateway to Mount Kenya, that, Otiende Amolo and cohort are unstoppable.
Okay.
And they had actually planned to use the market as an excuse of trying to hoodwink the traders that it is now them who are giving them the stores. Remember, there are 1,200 stores against a population of 7,000. Those same people that he's talking about, I met them on Wednesday.
Okay.
And then they called them on Thursday, and then on Friday they were at Capitol Hill. The same group of people, led by the former PA to Joyce Ngogi and the former the husband who died, who was MP for Gatundu South. Okay. And so let me just finish on saying this. Please do not come to divide our people along. The traders of Githurai have got about 7 markets. They have never fought. But because of the way you want to get a slice, a morsel out of Mount Kenya region, that's why you are advancing your nefarious schemes, because you think you can get a percentage of Raila Odinga for the 2022 elections. Okay. I want to finalize by saying this. A lot of damage was happened yesterday. Some people are even injured, they're even in hospital. And I would also equally want to say, this is a matter of criminal nature. Edwin Sifuna should record because he had already tweeted and said that there was going to be chaos. How did he know? Okay.
There was a video captured earlier on of this event yesterday. Let's watch this.
Githurai haitamwagwa damu kwa sababu ya watu wachache. Si ndio? Mimi sijajua na hakuna mtu yote ametuambia. Na wakileta hivyo tuko tayari kuonyesha sisi ndio wenyewe hapa. Githurai haitamwagwa damu kwa sababu ya watu wachache. Si ndio? Mimi sijajua na hakuna mtu yote ametuambia. Na wakileta hivyo tuko tayari kuonyesha sisi ndio wenyewe hapa.
Senator Mwaura, isn't that incitement?
No. Can you, if you played the whole clip, because that is a clip edited by ODM bloggers.
What does tuko tayari kuonyesha sisi wenyeji hapa?
Tuko tayari kuonyesha means that is a hustler nation.
Tuko tayari kuonyesha sisi ni wenyeji hapa.
Exactly, and that's what we did. That's what we did. The people of Githurai clearly showed where their hearts belong. Because this is a political contest, my brother. Let us not try to mince words there. But because it has been edited, no, let me finish. Because it has been edited to suit a certain narrative, and I hope, Trevor, you are also not, an accomplice in this. I hope you are neutral in this debate.
But that's why you're here.
No, I am here, but you could also not be neutral, together with Otiende Amolo. What we are trying to say is this. People have a right to express themselves. Yeah. There are those people who came shouting Baba. There are those people who said Ruto because they believe that is actually the person. Tulisema ya Uhuru Kumbi and ya Ruto Kumbi. Okay.
Yeah. Honorable Matangi, what do you make of that statement?
Thank you. Trevor, let me first say good morning to our viewers and also good morning to you. And of course, it's sad note to start the discussion this day on. One, I want to, as the Senator for Kiambu, elected twice in Kiambu from 2013, and having also been in political leadership in Kiambu, I was the chairman of PNU in Kiambu since the year 2007. And so I know the politics of Kiambu. I know how the people of Kiambu conduct their business, including Githurai, including all those other areas. And Kiambu is a county where people respect decorum, where we respect other people and respect other views. And we have never fought in Kiambu. We have never shown a face that is either intolerant or whereby we would lose our standing as a civil and civilized people. It doesn't matter whether it's at the market, whether it's our traders who are, hawkers, because largely we are a county of small business people, hawkers, traders, farmers, and so on. But when it comes to political views, and this is spread across, I believe, the entire Mount Kenya region. One thing that most of the people talk about when they refer to that region is that you might not even know what we are thinking about your fate as a politician if you are looking for a position and coming to campaign in our place. People will look at you, they will listen to you, they will give you time, you say all the things that you want to say. We decide by going to the ballot. And I think if you listen to the politics of Mount Kenya without being repetitive, that has been our hallmark. That's how we are known, that we make one decision. Indeed, the reason why we've been, as leaders of that area, urging and agitating our people that we must speak in one voice is because that's how we get to leverage. That's how we get to negotiate and move forward and get what we want in the bigger scheme of things, in national politics. Yeah. I want to say that that is not the face of Kiambu. That is not where we want to go as a county, and we cannot be known for that. We have to be people who are not only respected nationally, we also must know that we are living within a community of other tribes and other interests. And so when any person comes to Kiambu, let him have the freedom to say what he said. We will listen to him. That does not mean that we buy into their policy or into their thinking. Neither that does not mean that we support what they're asking for. We'll listen to them, we'll make our own decisions, and then we will vote. So I want to urge all my countrymen in Kiambu and women that let's do what we do best. We know how to sit together, we know how to talk, we know how to agree, we know how to find a way forward without sacrificing our image. Okay. I will be visiting the people of Githurai myself, and I will visit the people of the entire of that sub-county, like I've been doing. Indeed, I will be there the whole of this coming weekend. On Saturday and Sunday, have events there. And part of what we want to dialogue, and because some of the sentiments that I've heard being raised there about some of the demolitions by Kenya Railways, which is an issue that I personally had taken up with Kenya Railways to ensure that there is no that kind of disruption. I'm the chairman of transport in Parliament, in Senate. Yeah. I had taken up this matter and discussed it at length with MD to ensure that there is minimal disruption and indeed that the demolitions are stopped. The story of those markets, let me tell you, Trevor, I, Kimani Wamatangi, was sent by His Excellency the President, sometimes in my last term of Parliament, to a meeting with the World Bank leaders in New York. I am the one who represented government that time in signing for those loans that came to build all those markets in Kiambu. And we know what issues are there about our traders. We have built a market, that one in Githurai, we have one in Weru, we have one in Juja, we have one in Kihara, we have one in Kikuyu, another place called Limuru, and so on. And that does not mean that that is the end, because the need for our traders to have space, and especially fairness after that those markets have been built is there. And I think we have proper ways of addressing and ensuring it is only the bona fide people of those areas who have been trading in those markets who get allocated those loans. So it is important that we separate those issues, Trevor. such that we can handle the questions of fairness about who gets what. And of course, we would not allow people to be disadvantaged or people to be denied their right to occupy the places where they have been trading at the expense of maybe other people who are coming in. So by and large, finally, what I would just want to say is that because we are going into a very elongated period of politics. We'll have the campaigns for the BBI and so on that's starting, and then immediately we'll have the general elections. We must brace ourselves and prepare and know that at the end of the day, we will still remain the people of this country, the people of Kiambu. We will still want our children to see us for who we are. We want to set a good example. And so I think we need to be very tolerant and respectful.
All right. Honorable Home, you know the BBI now comes to counties. 24 of them are supposed to ratify it. There's a time frame set out in the Constitution, and I see you have it there. But are you going to fast forward it as county assemblies?
Thank you. Good morning. I think I have confirmed with almost all the speakers, 47 in this country, that they have indeed received the letter and the Constitution Amendment Bill. And actually, IBC was very fast on this and very thorough, because they pronounced on 26th. And actually, I received the letter and the bill on my desk on the same day at 5 o'clock. And the thing that we are doing now, the Constitution itself, from Article 255, is very clear on what the assemblies should do with this bill. And it is to look at it, and I think we also have an obligation to be able to, for our people, because we represent the people and we speak for the people, to let our people know exactly what is in this bill. And therefore, this is an obligation we are going to undertake. The main issue is that the Constitution gives us 3 months that we have to do this within 90 days. So you can even do it within 7 days. You can do it within 14 days. And I think from hearing the members of the county assemblies, because we are forums that we share, most of the assemblies would want to be done with this document so that they can go back to their daily course that is working for the people.
So how long do they think they'll dispense with it, despite the 90 days that the Constitution allows them?
I think within 14 to 21 days. Now we are not doing public participation because of the COVID protocols. And therefore we are just required to give our people maybe 7 days to file their memoranda to the county assemblies, if they have any. And noteworthy is that when we signed for the Constitutional Amendment Bill, it was showing that people had understood exactly what they were doing with it. And that is why you find that if it was a parliamentary initiative, that even before the bill is read a second time, it is given a window of 90 days before the second reading. But this one, there is no limit. You can read it the first time today, and tomorrow you read it the second time, and even within another 7 days or less, you can read it the third time, because it is a popular initiative. It is assumed, and with the signatures, it is believed that people are with this document from where it was initiated to where it is going. So I think most of the assemblies, and that we are going to elections in 2022, the main kind of consensus being built around this document is that they will want to deal with it within the shortest time possible, so that they can go back to the development agenda within the counties, and also to support the president in his Big Four agenda.
All right. Honorable Mora, there's an issue here on the front page of the Daily Nation. ODM leader Raila Odinga is calling wants President Uhuru Kenyatta to reshuffle the cabinet to get rid of people he blames for the Jubilee administration failures. Is this necessary in your view?
Not really, but you see, there has been this clamor to have ODM join government, and there was even a talk that they were told verbally that sign the agreement. And this is not a conversation that, Trevor, is just happening now. It was there before, because if you sign that contract, then you lose being the official leader of opposition, for example. So this call now being made right now is exactly in that direction, because ODM had a strategy that when President Uhuru Kenyatta and Deputy President William Ruto wins elections, their case was to be on William Ruto, because Peter Wanyande had done a research that clearly showed that if Ruto is not stopped, he is basically going to be president. So it has been a very systematic, challenge by ODM. There is something called structured chaos to that effect, and maybe they feel like they are succeeding, and the final call is for the cabinet to be dissolved, so that those who are seen to be allied to the deputy president can be shown the door, and for them now to take up those positions. It has happened already in Parliament, Trevor, because when those who are allied to Tanga were removed as chairman and vice chairman, who are the beneficiaries, you see? And of course, there are a lot of appointments that have been done in the spirit of the handshake. People like Akinda Peter Odoyo are now CASS and others. So basically, it's the last 18 months. It has happened before. I remember during the Grand Coalition government, persons like Professor Jacqueline Oduol were appointed PSS for only 4 months before President Kibaki, stepped down as president. So it is that, having the last, bite of the cherry, going forward towards, the 2022 election. But the challenge of that, Trevor, is that it creates the sense of incumbency on the part of ODM. And I don't know whether that is actually good for them, because incumbents do not necessarily have the favor of the masses, because the ground has shifted, and the momentum is with Deputy President William Ruto. So if then they finally do what they are planning by, in showing the door those who support Deputy President William Ruto, he can only attract more sympathies, because he is the one who fought for this government. I remember after the elections were nullified, courtesy of ODM, William Ruto is the one who came and rallied us. We did our first rally in Thika. I think Senator Matangi may also have been there. We came to Githurai and all of that. And by the way, before I forget, the flyover that Otiende Amolo was talking about, I had already negotiated with the MD of Kenya Railways, Mainga, way before, 3 weeks before, because I'm very much involved in these issues, so that we just clarify, so that it's not used for politics. So basically what I'm saying is this. The final idea is for Raila is pushing for Uhuru to accommodate him in government, so that they go as a pact in 2022. And the strategy has always been to say that President Uhuru Kenyatta is too young to retire. And so therefore, when they join hands together, they have the whole of Kenya, because Raila controls half and Uhuru controls the other half. And I think that kind of advancement that has been even properly canvassed by Atwoli, who is a Raila ally, is what Kenyans are resisting. Because you see, already if you have been given a term to serve, then it is only fair that we move forward, and that the people around the president and Right Honorable Raila Odinga are the ones who are occasioning this. And by the way, Trevor, they benefit from this largesse. They benefit from this fallout. They benefit in this chaos, and Jubilee, which has largely been kind of amorphous formlessness, is actually clearly demonstrating, because sometimes you don't know what the right hand is doing for the left. So in this kind of confusion, what I have called the fusion of the monopoly of opposition and government, is where you are seeing now very, very, very kind of funny and queer, politics, where you can't really tell who is in government, who is in opposition. So this ultimate, call that then the cabinet be dissolved is basically, the consummation of a scheme that was well orchestrated before the 2017 general elections.
Honorable Otiende, what is the strategy for this particular move?
Senator Mwaura is spewing misstatements and false theories that only belong in his head because they are not founded on any fact or founded on anything that he can demonstrate. And quite honestly, sometimes it reduces the quality of our discussion. Let me start first, just a quick comment on the clip that you showed and the response by Senator Mwaura. You realize Senator Mwaura did not deny anything of those that were said. All he says is that the clip was edited. That, by ODM people, whatever that means, you cannot edit and insert words that somebody did not say. If that was so, he would have said it. He uttered those words. He incited people, and it's on national television, and he must be held to account for it. And trying to to belittle the visit and all that by saying he negotiated the flyover and all that, that's all false. Because I was there when the Right Honorable Prime Minister spoke and invited the MD of Kenya Railways and invited the leadership of the market to discuss And that's when now they agreed on what is to be done. So you do not even try to take credit of things you've not done. You had him talking about the market, and you had Senator Wamatangi here give you the history, that even that market that Senator Mwaura was talking about, he does not know the history. But let me come to the statements that the Right Honorable Prime Minister made, urging President Kenyatta to get rid of those who are, I can only call saboteurs. I mean, it's quite natural, and I've said it for the last 2.5 years since the handshake. There is no way you can be in an establishment where you are putting a strategic direction and some of your subordinates are pulling in a different direction. That does not happen even in our office as MPs. That does not even happen in church. As a Catholic, it is unimaginable that the Pope can issue those papal letters and then a bishop somewhere write back and saying, no, I'm not in agreement, I will not implement it. That does not happen. Since the handshake, the Deputy President and his troops have engaged on a consistent path of sabotaging what the President is doing. So there's nothing new in what Raila is calling for. The only thing new there is that, in my opinion, I have always been calling for the DP to resign, but it's only the DP who cannot be sacked by the President because of the Constitution. He can only be removed by impeachment. But all others can be removed at the tip of a pen. And I therefore agree fully that anyone who is enjoying the largesse of government and sabotaging the same government ought to be removed. We as ODM have never wanted, we've never expressed, and we have no intention of joining government as it is. And this has been said time and time again. So when Isaac Mwaura is saying these are tactics in joining government, I do not even know what what he means. And then he continues to say that, oh, you know, we have not signed, you know, an MOU with the Jubilee because then we would lose like what's calling the leader of official opposition. There's even no such thing in the current constitution. There is no leader of official opposition in the constitution. So even the things he's saying we are to lose, I do not know. Now, let me talk about something a little more useful, which you had asked my friend Ndego Wahome, about the process of the BBI. Yeah. I agree with Wahome completely that this is a document which first was already considered by about 4.4 million Kenyans. And it's a document that it's been in the public domain. So it's not a document that people are not aware of. They are aware of it. And also, given the limitations in terms of public participation, I am quite happy with his assertion that in his estimation, the counties should be done with it between 14 to 21 days. I think that's very encouraging because at the end of the day, you only need 24 counties. Once 24 counties signify that they have considered it and they give their verdict to the two speakers of the houses, then the process is on. So if that happens, then once the speakers of the houses receive it, and because this is one that must go for a referendum anyway, it cannot die in any of the houses. Yeah. My expectation again is that the two houses of parliament will equally treat it with the urgency that it deserves. And then we go on a referendum, and then the people make that determination. I am confident that most counties will support and approve this. I do not see which county would want to reject a situation where money is being increased from 15% to 35% for that county. Yeah. I do not see which county would want to reject what they've been looking for the longest time, having a ward development fund. Yeah. You remember, and Senator Wamatangi will know this, that only last year, the bill for the ward development fund was presented to Parliament. Yeah. And you know, parliamentarians, there are a number of MCAs who are also eyeing to join Parliament. Yeah. So most members of Parliament thought that empowering the MCAs would be empowering their competitors, and it was knocked down. Yeah. Let me assure you that if it is not passed in this constitution, it will never become law by any other process. Okay. So I don't see which ward or which MCA will reject what is actually giving them that opportunity, even for more wards and more constituencies also to be created.
All right, Wamatangi, quick remarks on this issue by ODM leader to reshuffle cabinet and also what Honorable Wahome has just mentioned.
Yes, Trevor, my mind tells me that Honorable Raila was talking about this in his capacity as a citizen, because I mean, you know, he's not part of government for that matter. I mean, factually, he isn't. But of course, he's a citizen who's got views. Yeah. And I believe that when he's making those maybe he thought that there's a way of improving performance. Yeah. Remember, in our last debate here, lastly, but of course not forgetting the fact that for the last 2 weeks continuously, we have been having to deal with a lot of fire. Do you call it friendly fire? From Otiende Amolo here. You know, and of course even from his boss, saying that Jubilee, that we have underperformed. We had that debate here last time, anyway. And we also have to acknowledge that we have not accomplished everything that we intended to accomplish for the people of this country since elections. And so maybe his comments, he's commenting as a citizen. I would take in the comments, of course, not as a directive, and I believe that's what the president would do, him being at the helm. Yeah. But of course, know that it's also a reminder that there's work to be done within government. I believe at the end of the day, like I said last week, Trevor, we must apply our minds to the fact that we have promises that we are yet to keep to the people of this country. And that fact will not go away. We waved a red book sometimes in 2017 and also in 2013 in Kasarani that we called our manifesto, that had promises that we made to the people of this country. Those promises, for as many as we have done, there are equally as many that have not been fulfilled. And whatever the current political circumstances or scenarios may evolve, at the end of the day, we will be held accountable. And when history is written, it is going to be written that we did or we did not. For me, that is how I look at it. And I believe that's how you know, the president and the delivery team that he's got should look at it. Now, lastly, on this question of BBI that has been addressed by my friend here, Otiende Amolo and Speaker. I believe at the end of the day, the county assemblies right now must know that the eyes of the country, and indeed the way forward, either politically in passing or rejecting the BBI, and a lot of other things that may come out of the decisions they made. They must know that right now the decisions they have in their hands is very crucial. And I hope that they'll be looking at this very objectively. You know, Trevor, one thing that we also have to honestly apply our minds to is that the fate of BBI now largely is not on the content of the document. Yeah. It is the considerations around it are not whether having the word fund is a good thing, or whether, I mean, it has largely turned into a political discussion and a political process. And I think this is where the balance must be laid, and I think that's where also MCAs must think way beyond, ask themselves, for all those things that are in that document, which have been said that this is good to have a ward fund, it's good to have more, you know, sub-counties and so on. And then given the political force behind the two differing factions, what do we do? And I think if you look at today's paper, I don't know whether I'm sure you must have had an opportunity to go through them. When you look at maybe like in the Daily Nation, page 5, you find that so many of them have started to air their opinions. You have that big title there, Ruto allied MCAs vow to shoot down the BBI.
That's the next part.
And you find that most of the county assemblies here, this one is saying we shall pass it, this one is saying that we are going to shoot it, we have not read it. And so that tells you that it is most unlikely that the fate of that document will be based on the content, quality, or even the product in that document. Mostly it might end up being political. So, Speaker and your team, you also must remember then that the decisions that, because at the end of the day, as Otiende Amolo was saying, if the county assemblies do not assent to this bill and give the 24 number, then that process is dead. So all the things that have been said and done will collapse.
Honorable Ome, should the president and his team be worried what are you getting as the chairman for the County Assemblies Forum? Is there some level of, much level of support or opposition of this document exists in your ranks and file?
I think, Trevor, is that from the word go, is that as assemblies of this country, we have a governing council, which has 3 representatives from every county assembly. All the 47 county assemblies, a total of about 141. And when we sat, we agreed that we are going to concentrate on matters of devolution and matters that affect county assemblies. And the report that we took to Hanj, the request that we took to Hanj Commission to be included in the BBI report was very clear, and it touched and concentrated on devolution and the interest of the assemblies. Because we knew that we have MCAs from ODM, from Jubilee, from ANC, from Wiper, and that if we got into the market of the national politics, that would divide and kill CAF. So we decided to concentrate on what the primary issues that affect our members. And one of the issues we took to the Hajj Commission is that 5% of the funds to be devolved. There is a lot of talk where we are not getting 15%, and we're getting that 5%. As assemblies, we said, is it a good thing to get that 5%? Yes, it is a good thing. Let it be in the Constitution. We asked that the assemblies have their financial independence. And actually, it is in the BBI report, the county assemblies fund. We don't require to go to the governor to beg there. Like now, today, we have assemblies, including Nyandarua, where you do your questions, they will go and lie in the governor's office. They are not being signed. Once we pass the BBI report, the county assemblies fund will be established, and we shall not have any nexus between the assemblies and the executive in terms of dispensing funds as allocated in the budget for the county assemblies. We again said we wanted the World Development Fund, as it has been addressed by Mheshimiwa Otiende Amoro. Now it is there. It has been shut down. There was the Kangata bill on the WDF. It was shut down. There was now the present bill by the Committee on Justice of the Senate. It was shut down by the National Assembly. And we did not expect it to come through Parliament, because this is politics, and members of Parliament, most of them know that MCAs will be going for their seats. At least in the current Parliament, we have 22 MCAs in the first dispensation who are members of Parliament. So members of Parliament, they know what they are facing in 2022 from the MCAs. And therefore, it is unlikely that they would have wanted to empower the MCAs. But now, with the BBI, we are going to get the WDF. We are also, there was a lot of mischief in the Constitution of 2010 when the members of Parliament ensured that there was a clause in that Constitution to the effect that an MCA would not contest for to be a member of Parliament without resigning 6 months before the elections. They knew it would be very dangerous for these MCs to resign 6 months before elections to contest for Parliament. Now that clause has been removed. We took it to the Hajj Commission, and that clause has been removed. So an MCA now will serve until the last day and still contest for Parliament. There is another issue which has been bringing us issues about that the governor and the deputy governor are the CEOs at the counties. But it is stopped at that. But now we were able to introduce a clause in the BBI report that they will be directly answerable to the MCAs. The other issue that was not there in the first Boma's draft is that the MCAs were not to be part of the cabinet at the county level. We intervened after the first Boma's first, and that clause is now in the BBI report. So largely, except what Senator Amatange is saying, and you cannot wish it away, that there is the legal and there is the political. But generally, all the issues that the MCAs wanted incorporated in the BBI report, they have been incorporated.
All right. Honorable Mwaura, what is the game plan from here? We see that Ruto and his allies are lobbying MCAs to reject the BBI bill.
I think, first and foremost, I don't think the Deputy President has said that he is rejecting the BBI. Because in any case, the BBI proponents are the ones who are advancing the BBI. And he has said very clearly that, and that's a position, that if there are multiple questions, then it would give us a very good opportunity to carry on board the various good ideas that are in the BBI I personally actively participated in ensuring the issues of people with disabilities were captured, and I'm very proud of the fact that almost single-handedly I was able to push for the 4 slots in the National Assembly because it didn't exist. It's unfortunate that the Senate doesn't have the representation as it currently were, even when the BBI report itself mentions 2 bills that have been processed through the Senate. The anti-BBI crusade, really, the political figureheads are people like Kivuda Kibwana and Mother Karua and the members of the civil society. And it remains to be seen when the actual campaign starts, whether they will be at the forefront in terms of ensuring that then they rally Kenyans against it. But independent opinion results clearly show that even the ones that were published, I think some 3 weeks ago, thereabout, that the no is actually ahead against the yes. And by the way, Trevor, just agreeing with one of us who said, these are ad hominem arguments. It's not about the content. It's about who is selling it. It's about the timing. And it's about the economic situation that is making individuals, be careful. But also, interestingly, the schisms of power. For example, by the way, why haven't we not answered the question that if BBI was to be passed today, does it affect the term of the presidency? Does it affect the term of parliament? And we are not doing second guessing or conjecture. Why? You've seen what has happened in Nairobi County. That a deputy governor rightfully nominated, but injected by the courts, a governor is impeached, and then that process is now rolled back, and then I don't know who. I mean, who appointed that deputy governor? So it is actually possible that there is more than meet the eye, and this needs to be made in public because this will be the next contestation, post BBI results, whether really a new term or a new process begins, because there are no clauses, there are no transitional clauses. Yeah. In BBI in that regard, because what we have seen clearly are the issues of for example, merging the executive with the legislature around the composition of the National Assembly, and also as Ndegwa Wahome has said here, accountability. In fact, one of the things that that has also been well captured is the fact that also county governors are now being told, can you account for your own source of revenue, because that's been a gray area. Yeah. So basically, yes, indeed, they are very good ideas. But in terms of the question that you've asked me, the Deputy President has not publicly pronounced that he's opposing. He has advanced the idea of multiple questions, and I'm very glad I pronounced myself about it this week. And also, the Attorney General has actually put it very clearly that he's not opposed to that idea, that it's actually possible to have that. But then, the challenge is with many Kenyans is that they are saying that the BBI should be swallowed hook, line, and sinker. And that I think is where the issue is, because you don't want to swallow some poison. Okay. Is it actually possible to separate and say, for example, where you need underrepresentation, in terms of the constituencies, tick, because you cannot have, for example, in Ruiru constituency, having one MP representing 490,120, just more than even Vihiga County, which has 475,000 people. So that's something that the people of Ruiru, for example, would want to canvass and vote. There are those who feel we don't need like the position of Prime Minister and 2 deputies. Yeah. Well, so why are we not giving Kenyans an option? So that, of course, you do away with over 100 women that you are likely to nominate because of the way in which we vote, because we are a patriarchal society. Yeah. So some of these issues are important. But the problem is that, when you have even pronouncements, like, for example, by Right Honorable Raila Odinga saying, nyoka ametoka. You see, those things do not, espouse collegiate, bipartisan thinking. It makes people feel jittery because they think like there is something hidden under the sleeves. Okay. And there are some cards that are under the table. But I believe, Trevor, that personally, I'm an optimist. Yeah. And I believe that there is an opportunity for people to have a robust conversation. Otherwise, left as it is, I think majority of Kenyans are not supporting BBI. All right. I have to take a quick break here, but I want to come back, Honorable Tiende. I'd like you to clarify on this issue that has been raised by Honorable Mwaura, whether this, if it passes, then what happens? Does the law then apply retrospectively or not? But that is after this break. I see a lot of your feedback coming through as well at Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. We still have one more chat to have later on, also facing the Mount Kenya region. The President is expected to meet the people from there. We'll find out what his priorities should be in just a bit.